mistakes, okay? I make mistakes all the time, okay? So, put a face in the space. Every good boy does fine, okay? If you can just remember one of those, you're set, okay? Either or, okay? Now, why I say that is because if you can only remember to put a face in the space, then you can go, okay? You can use your musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Every time you get to G, it starts over at A, okay? If you use your musical alphabet and only know that you put face in the space, then you can use your musical alphabet. As you go up the staff, okay, as you go up the staff, the letters go up. So look, F, then we go to that next line, G. So in our alphabet, G comes after F, okay? So as we go up, as you go up, the next letter you use. So F, G, okay? Then A, B, C, D, E, F, okay? And then as you go down, you go backwards, okay? As you go down, F, if the only thing you can remember is F, remember, you're going down, you gotta go backwards in the alphabet. What comes before F in the alphabet? E, okay? So F, E. What comes before G in our musical alphabet? Or what comes before A in our musical alphabet? G. What comes before C? B. What comes before E? D, okay? There's so many ways that you can start to memorize this, okay? And we talked about this, okay? And we're going to talk about this next week, adding in ledger lines, okay? There are ledger lines that go below and above the staff, okay? There are ledger lines that go above and below the staff, okay? And those have notes in it, okay? That's a note. This is a note. This is a note. This is a note. Note, note, note. Those are all got notes in them. Okay, same thing up here. Note, 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 note. These are just adding lines and spaces to the already treble clef we have. Okay. So if you want, we'll talk about it next week. We're going to start adding in ledger lines next week. Okay. If you kind of want to go ahead and get a start on it, it's fine with me. And you can see how close you get. But we won't start adding that on until next week. Okay. All right, now get out your note naming worksheet. It should be note naming worksheet number 2, okay? Get out note name worksheet number 2. We're gonna look at this one. Like I said, this is gonna be a part of your homework for the night too. Actually, I'm just gonna keep that up there. I'm not gonna erase that. Okay, real quick, okay? I want you to spend 10 seconds. Okay, or I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to pause the video. You spend on however much time you need. If you need to pause the video, pause the video. Okay. I want you to do just the first line. Okay. Pause. All right. So hopefully by now you finish it. If you unpause it, that means you're ready. Okay. So just looking at that first one. Okay. That first one, the note is in the bottom space, okay? Bottom space. What is our bottom space? It should be F, okay? That first one on that line number 1, that first one should be F. Now, number 2 is pretty easy because it's the same note, okay? So the first 2 should be F because they're both in the same space. Again, this piece of paper is computer generated. I wish it would fluctuate the notes a lot more than it does, but it doesn't, okay? Now, let's look at the third one, okay? That note is on the bottom line, okay? Bottom line. Every good boy does fine, okay? We're on the bottom line. Every, which starts with E. So that number 3 is going to be E. E, as in every, okay? All right, next one. That note is on the 4th line. The 4th line. Okay, this 4th line. So if we go, every good boy does. 4th line, okay? Does, we end on does, so that means D. That 4th one on that line should be D. All right. The 5th one, we've seen the 5th one already before. In the and on number 3 of that line, that was E. Number 5 is E. All right, and then that last one we got is the 3rd space. 3rd space. C. Okay, third space C, okay? All right. All right. Now, for the rest of this, I'm just going to let you, I got other stuff we're going to get to. I believe you could do the rest of this on your own, okay? So what I want you to do is for homework is just to finish this page for the night, okay? I'm going to pause the video real quick to get set up for the next thing. All right. So before we move on to the next portion of lesson, like lesson 3 and 4, I know this was next, just do a quick review of what the note, what the count system should look like. If you remember from yesterday's video, we did the counting of stuff, what should have a slash, what shouldn't have a slash, what numbers should be big, what numbers should be small, okay? So we're just going to do a quick review over that. And then we'll move on to lesson 3 and 4, okay? So if you remember, quarter notes only get 1 beat apiece, okay? So that means for the quarter notes and the quarter rest, they get 1 beat apiece. So that means only one number should ever go above those notes. Now there's some notes that we'll get into that have more than one number, okay? But, so just a reminder, okay? We've got the quarter note and the quarter rest up here with a half note and a half rest. That's what we covered yesterday, okay? So remember, quarter notes get one note, or quarter notes only get one number. And in our time signature of 4/4, okay, that first quarter note will get a big 1. Okay, since it's our first quarter note, that quarter note gets a big 1. The second quarter note will get a big 2. Okay, so far we got big 1, big 2. Okay, then we got a quarter rest after that. Okay. The rest will always get small numbers, okay? Rest will always get small numbers. So we're going to give that a little 3 and a little 4. See how you see the difference? Big 1, big 2, little 3, little 4, okay? Now, because of rest, we have to put the slashes in the numbers, okay? The reason we put the slash in the numbers is because to represent, and so that we represent silence, okay? So if I was to clap that, I'm gonna click it with these things. I don't know if you can hear it, okay? If I was to click this, okay, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. See how I didn't hit on 3 and 4 because 3 and 4 are silent. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now look at the half notes. Half notes are the first note that will get 2 numbers. And if you remember why they get 2 numbers, that's great. Okay. They get 2 numbers is because you hold it out. You hold that note out. Okay. They don't get one individual number because each time something gets a number, that means you're re-articulating that note. Okay. So when we look at this half note, okay, it's going to get a big 1. All right, big O 1, because that's what beat it plays on. You play it on beat 1. And you'll give it a small 2. Now, the reason the small 2 is because you're not re-articulating beat 2. Okay? You're not re-articulating 2. You're only articulating 1. Okay? If you look at a half note, okay, I'm fixing to click the half note. 1, 2. You see on beat 2 that I didn't re-click it? It's because it gets 2 beats. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2, okay? You don't click on 2, you won't, and the only reason for that is because you're holding that note out, okay? And then you got the half rest, okay? Remember, half rest, half a man keeps his hat on, whole man takes the hat off, okay? Half rest. Now, this is the only time a rest will get a big 3 or a big number is when it's more than one count, okay? Actually, no, it won't even get a big number, okay? We'll just give it 2 small numbers, so 3, 4. 2 small numbers with a slash, okay? The rest, both beats 3 and beat 4 will get a slash because you're not playing, because that is a rest. So look, if I was to click it, okay? So I'm going 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4. You see that I didn't re-click on 3, 4 because those are rests. And do it again. 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, 4. No clicks on 3 and 4 because it is a rest. Okay. Now that's just a refresher of what we talked about yesterday. Okay. We're fixing, like I said. Oh, somebody's calling. Hold on. All right, Miss Queen calling. Okay. So like I said, I'm pushing you to get through this quickly, especially for the high school. High school, you should know this by now. If you don't know this, serious problems. Seventh grade, we were right at this point last year reviewing this with eighth notes and everything. So I'm trying to push you back, push you through it. We kind of got away from the half notes because you don't see a lot of half notes in percussion. You'll see it a lot in the mallet percussion, but in like ringlet percussion, you won't see a lot of half notes or whole notes. So only time you'll see that and stuff is on rolls. Okay, so I'm trying to push you through this real quick. Okay, now I need to get out lesson 3 and 4. That sheet for lesson 3 and 4 should look like this. Lesson 3, lesson 4. The main reason I'm getting you to do this, if you look at it, lesson 3 is about whole notes and rest. Again, whole notes don't pertain to a rhythmic percussion person as much. The only time you'll ever see a whole note is usually on a roll, okay? But on mallets, you'll see it probably quite often, so it's why I'm teaching you this. It's easy enough to get through it, but at the same time, something you'll probably rarely see, okay? So let's just push through it and get to it, okay? So get out that lesson 3 whole notes and lesson 4, the one that goes with dotted half notes. We got to start learning about dots in band because those can be a little tricky when they come up to other types of note. Obviously, with the half note, a dotted half note, that's pretty easy. But when you're talking about dotted quarters, dotted eighths, dotted 16, those get a little bit. The counting on those can be a little bit trickier. Okay, so hopefully by now you have out lesson 3 and 4. If not, hurry up and get it out, okay? We'll go through this, okay? Start on number 1 of lesson 3. We're going to try to get through 1 through 5 and on each of these pages, okay? So if you look at number 1, it starts off with 4 quarter notes, okay? 4 quarter notes. And then the second measure you have up, what is a whole note? A whole note is just a big old circle, okay? And that's all a whole note is, okay? And then you have 2 half notes, and then a whole note at the end, okay? Now, they give you the example of what the whole note. We already know what the quarter notes look like. Big 1, big 2, big 3, big 4. Okay, we already know what those look like. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Here, let me put it more in the center. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Big 1, big 2, big 3, big 4. Okay, we already know what the half notes look like. The half note gets a big 1, little 2. The second half note gets a big 3, little 4. Okay, we already know those. Okay, now they give you the example of what the whole note should look like. Okay, you get a big old 1. Okay, let's see where you can see this. Okay. Okay, I'm putting it below just because I can. Okay, you get a big O1, okay, and then for beats 2, 3, and 4, they're all small. 2, 3, 4. Now, if you remember from the half notes get a big first number, a small little number. That's all they get. 2 numbers. First one's big, second one's small. Second one's small is because we're holding out the note. The whole note gets 1 big number and 3 little numbers. Okay. Now the only reason it only gets 1 big number is because like I said, the big number represents the articulation of the note. You will only articulate a whole note 1 time. Okay. Any note that we play, any note that you hit, you usually only articulate no matter what the note is. 8th note, 16th, 32nd, 64th. Whole, half, whatever kind of note you do, you usually only articulate it once, okay? That's what's every note's like that, okay? But it gives you a small 2, small 3, small 4. That small 2, 3, 4 is the holding out of that note, okay? So if I was to play, okay, this is my tempo. If I was to sing a whole note, it would sound like this. So 1, 2, ready, and hold. Okay, you didn't hear me go hold, 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 hold. Okay, it only got articulated once, and I held it out for the last 3 counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4.